I'm happy to know you're still there. The program is still Breakfast Weekend, and this is our Guest of the Week segment. This is a segment that I love so much because it's not just talking about abstract things and all. You get to learn from people's life experiences, and it's also entertaining at that. Our Guest of the Week for this episode is someone that is so interesting, someone that would inspire a lot of people. But let me not talk too much on it. AY had a chat with him in the course of the week. I want you to go and see the clips of the chat she had with our Guest of the Week.
Hi, thank you for joining us on this segment. And my guest of the week today, he's someone that, I will be understating it if I call him a jack of all trades. And he's master of all. Interesting enough, he's not only master of all, he has been able to put everything into a string such that all these things that he does, they are independent of each other, but at the same time they're all attached with all these tiny strings, and then they all work together. Don't let me talk too much. My guest is Bimbola Alagbe. He's a PR practitioner, he's an entrepreneur, he's a hotelier, a tourism practitioner, he's a teacher. Do you get the idea now? Let me let you meet him. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing today?
Very well, thank you.
Now, I mentioned all of these things that you do, and you seem to do them quite effortlessly. Also, I noticed that there are things that involve the skills of interaction, of getting to know people. Some may even involve some traveling and moving around. So I want to know which came first, the ambition to want to be these things, or some innate skills that you felt you had and so you wanted to transform them into something visible. Which one came first?
Well, it's like asking which came first, the chicken or the egg.
The egg. True.
Good. But the point is that there are some things that are wired in a particular human being. They come like little traces. Okay. Then some people discover them, and then they develop them, and then they deploy them. So working under a 3D, that's exactly what I would look at in this. They are what I do, and early enough I know that I can actually make my what I love to do to work for me and get paid for it. And that's exactly what I converted. I grew up as a young man among the people, knowing fully well that the first thing that God deposits as to anybody is the human capital.
Sure.
So the most important is that there's nobody who came to the world without having a father and a mother. You have those two people, and then those ones now have relations, and then relations now become up to you, and what you do with them are the first things that actually give you, the leverage on life to continue.
Sure.
So I knew quite well that I am an outgoing type. So, and because that's it, that took me into journalism very, very early in life. At 4.5, I was making poem among my colleagues, and by the time I was going to be nine, not 9 yet, I had a regular program on the Ogun State Broadcasting Corporation at that time.
OGBC.
Yes, it was called Akiweje.
Before you were even 9.
Yeah, before I was 9. So I was having a regular program at that time.
Wow.
We're bringing, it was an old man then, Babaladis is still alive. Just identified when we went to do the usual children program, and because I wanted to be part of that, I memorized my lines. I memorized the lines of every other person, so that nothing is going to allow me. So we visited the WNBC, WNBS at that point in time. One lady, Miss Olasope, used to be. That was the one who inspired me. I discovered that then there was a radio fusion, the kind of radio we used at that time, hanged on one side of on the corridor in the home. So I discovered that when she speaks, I hear her then in Abeokuta. And I traveled to Odiremo to go and see my dad's best man, and I saw that she was speaking there also. So I got to Oyo, my hometown, and I discovered that she was speaking. So one day they asked us in class, what would you like to become in the future? a guy came up and said he wanted to be a traffic warden. And they said, why? He said, because the traffic warden is a powerful person. It doesn't matter how many vehicles, once he raises the hand, everybody stops. And I thought about it. I said, I want to be like that Olasope lady who was the continuity announcer in those days. I said, why? I said, there is nowhere you get to, you don't get that girl talking, that woman talking. So I love to be somebody like that. So when we were coming to present that, I crammed and memorized everything for
so that nothing goes wrong.
So even if nothing will exclude me from that. And I made up my mind that since then, I'm probably going to go into broadcasting.
But then something changed along the line. I know that you taught also at some point.
Yes,
as a
I did.
Teacher. So from that passion to want to be on radio or be on television, where did teaching come in?
Now the point is this: God is very, very wonderful, in the sense that while He's preparing a job for you, He prepares you for the job.
Okay.
So in doing that, at some point, I think He wants to break me.
Okay.
With every sense of modesty, my teacher said I was a brilliant guy in class. And in my primary, secondary, up to the university level, I mean, when I was in the University of Ilorin, I was a university scholar. That's given to the best student in each faculty for each year. I was there for 3 years, and I was the one who won that.
Wow.
That will give you...
Your classmates must have hated you or something. Like you didn't give anybody else the opportunity.
The point was that there's always an edge. Okay. We still meet today. All of us still meet today, but there's always an edge. Because my sister, my elder sister, happened to be in the same class with me at the university.
Okay.
And she was in a different department.
Okay.
And because she was also said, I joined as a direct entry. She was there in the first year.
Okay.
So she took it in the first year before I came.
Well, you took it over.
So, but then I took it over. But at the final year, because I chose to go and write my project from another faculty entirely.
Okay.
So she wrote her own in her own faculty, and I wrote mine. And the
faculty.
University had no other choice than to give it to the two of us. So we left. So once my teachers saw that, they began to now help,
to mold
in molding that. But then along the line I derailed. And because I knew I was always a brilliant guy, as a boy, I began to associate with some, and God wanted to teach me a lesson. Okay. So at the time I finished from the secondary school, getting admission in the first year became difficult. My dad was connected and that didn't work. He didn't want to even be part of that at all. Yeah. So I got into the Polytechnic.
Okay.
But something tells me that a Polytechnic and university are not the same thing. Something tells me then that there's going to be this dichotomy, and I didn't want to be a second best. So I withdrew from the Polytechnic to go into the university. But that didn't happen same year. So when I got home, then it happened that some few boys around where we live were said to have forged their results into some institutions, and they were expelled. That was when I left the poly.
So they thought that was what happened to you.
So to make sure, so everybody thought that was what happened to me. For me to leave home so that I'm not classified among those boys, the only one that was open to me was to go for 1 year, 1 year long school at a teacher's college in Ota.
Okay.
And then 2 years in Ayutoro. While I was still making younger, the one in 1 year closed, and I had to go for the 2 years course in the Divisional Teachers College. And from there I went into the Oyo State College of Education in those days, which eventually became St. Andrews College in Oyo. And then, so all those ones were taking me. And as I was doing that, I learned the art of teaching. The meeting people is still part of what I wanted to. So the moment I finished, so that gave me an opportunity to teach in the primary, in the secondary, and then in the teachers college. Until I got to my service year, and I got introduced into the tertiary education, which I took at the ATC ABU, for those 2 years. But then meeting people, apart from being confined in the four walls of a classroom, is what I always want to be. So I came back to UI to study communication arts, which exposed me to public relations and marketing. and then I took on a career in marketing.
You've also been in the tourism, hotel and tourism sector about almost 3 decades now.
Yes, please.
That's a long time. I'm sure that had to do with some resilience, consistency, sacrifice, sweat, and all of the things needed to keep something that good going on for that long.
Yeah.
What made you go into that in the first place, and what are the key qualities you would say has kept you going all these years?
Okay, what I would say, what people have told me, let me see if I can cap that. Well, I came into the industry so that I can market, and that means that I can market anything. Like I said, I started with marketing plastics, but that's a product that you can see. I know the one that is abstract is to market a service. So that's more challenging. So I accepted that and came into the industry to market that and tell people what you think they will enjoy. But after creating the picture in the heart of the people, I come home to come and create it at home.
Physically.
So that when they come, they meet what I promised.
Definitely.
So that looks very challenging to me. And what made that very, very interesting is that the weight, I wasn't the general manager then, but then the weight of having to meet with the financial obligations rests very much on my performance. That's challenging, and that's why I stayed very long in that. But then while I was there, I took time out to look at the nitty-gritty of what goes on in the industry. And then one person came one day and posted me out from the from my comfort zone of being a public relations and marketing person, and says, go into housekeeping. That's core hotel, and that means cleaning, dusting, arranging, all sort of things. Initially, I didn't like it.
I wanted to ask that some people would think that's derogatory. That's
of course it was, with a master's degree and somebody who is about the most qualified there. But something just went into my head and I mean, what's the big deal about this? Education will make you do it better than every other person. So I said there should be a better way of doing things, and I began to do that. So I threw myself into it. I was learning the rudiments from those roommates. They taught me. And then the teacher in me came one day. I went to visit one hotel and I saw that they weren't doing it properly. So I wrote proposal that I can teach them and train them how they can have return on investment if their housekeeping was good. So I wrote the proposal and brought those girls who taught me to do the practicals. So in one weekend, I made my salary. In one weekend of 3 days, I made my salary for 2 months on one weekend. So that tells me that there's money in there. So I began to study the more in that and began to write proposals to several of such and was teaching them, demonstrating. So I knew there's money in there for me. So I was using that to keep myself. So sometimes I would take my leave so that I can go and do this. And at the end of my leave, I can take my salaries for a whole year within 40 days that I was entitled to.
So because I'm interested, I don't mind making my salary in just a day. Like, I don't mind, So in all of this that you do, if you had to give someone orijo, so to say, and you had to mention 3 of the things that you always hold dear, 3 of the key factors that you hold dear when it comes to your business life, what would you say those 3 things are?
Now, the first 3 things is, number 1, now I'm doing more of management. And I've given you the orijo, but you didn't see it as an orijo.
I want you to be explicit.
Yeah, what I do is, number 1, I act as a coach now. I discover people. And I look at their intrinsic abilities, which can make a difference in whatever thing I do. Now, some of them come unpolished. They come raw. Some of them don't even know they know that. So once I discover that as a coach, I do the second D, which is develop. I develop them into what they can, what people can actually place value on. And then once I know that they are good enough, I deploy them to go and shine. To do that. So that's the third D. So once I deploy them, they begin to shine. You see, a raw gold will not be attractive to anybody once it is developed. Even if you find one, if you've not seen one before, you find it, you may not even pick it. It doesn't look attractive. But I look at that in people. Sometimes you put fire, you put pressure on them, so that the best in them can actually come out. So once the best comes out, then you can deploy them and they begin to shine. So what I hold dear is that people will always pay for excellence. And so in trying to excel, you must learn how to do the very best at the first time.
When you're not working, what do you do? Because I mean, all of this is nice, money is coming in, but you have to relax sometime. What do you do to relax?
As a tourism practitioner, I love to travel.
Okay.
And I
within the country, outside,
anywhere. Traveling is an art of imparting knowledge, to go and see, to go and learn. And the work that I do now, there are some things you learn when you see them. There are some things you learn when you see them. There are some when you hear them.
Okay.
And so when I am not when I'm traveling, if I'm not driving myself, then I'm reading
on the way.
Yeah, on the way. Or that's my greatest hobby now. I read.
Okay.
I read all sorts of books. Now the reason is because what some people's experience of 30 days, 30 years, 30 whatever, they put it together in a book and then they make it available to you. You learn what they learned over 30 years. You learn what some of them learned over 90, and the books that some of them have read, they also summarize it and put it in the one book. So knowledge is there. So what you know is what gives you an edge over people who don't know. And anything that you don't know, you will always pay for it. So as much as possible, I don't want to pay like both that. Like that. So I give myself to the knowledge. I read in medicine, I read in engineering. As a leadership, at leadership positions, you must know something about everything and everything about something.
Okay.
So in trying to know, the only place you can know and how you can know is through knowledge, and books present that.
Many people talk about mentorship.
Yeah.
They talk about having someone to look up to.
Yes.
I know that in your field, I mean, you're doing well, but do you still have people that you look up to? How do you interact with them? Do they know that they are your mentors?
Yeah, incidentally, I have mentors.
Okay.
Depending on what you're looking at this point.
Okay.
Well, the source of all knowledge is God.
Okay.
And He mentors me a lot.
Okay.
What I mean by that, I have a personal relationship with God that makes me ask Him all forms of questions, and He makes it available. To some extent, I am close. I'm close. I am close. And I have the privilege of Him being close to me.
Okay.
But then, anybody that is better than me on any field, I will do anything to be close to that person. I will do anything. If I find that you are doing it better than me, I want to learn what you are doing and how to improve on what you are doing even before you teach me.
So that you can be better.
So that I can be better.
Oh.
Because if I'm not better than you, then nobody prefers me above you. So life, I know, is a competition, and people want somebody who can solve problems for them. I don't create problems, and I know that people will place value if I solve one.
Yes.
So in trying to solve, I know you are in one field and you are better than me. I want to be mentored and see what you do. I know if I can pay the same price that you are paying, then I can have whatever at all that you have. It's not about it. It's not about age. If I have money to pay for anything today, I walk over and they give it to me. So what exactly are you doing to get your better results? I want to know that first. And that's what would make me go into farming. That's what would make me go into engineering. Sometimes they do run engineering courses, and I want to be registered for them. They talk all their jargons, but I know what it takes to be a facilities manager and things like that. So what has been coming to me is what will actually push me up, because where there's a trouble, that's exactly where I shine better.
Nice. Thank you so much. I have been speaking with Bimbola Alagbe, who is, of course, like I said at the beginning of this, jack of all trades. And he let you know the reason, because no knowledge is ever lost. Everything you can get your hands on, please do, because I will be, from all of this I've learned. It's back to the studio. Thank you for watching.